أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول محمد سيد الأولين والآخرين وعلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أكثر الصلاة في بيتك يكثر خير بيتك وسلم على من لقيت من أمتي تكثر حسناتك. Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem buyuruyor ki evinde çokça namaz kıl ki evinin bereketi artsın.
Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says, pray often in your home so that the blessings of your house may increase.
Yani evde tabi sünnetler daha fazla, cemaat farz vakitleri camide daha fazla ama sünnette nafile namazlar evde kılınması bereket olur, evin bereketini artırır.
And what this means is that praying at home means that one should pray the sunnah prayers at home. If it's the obligatory prayers, then those obligatory prayers should be performed in congregation in the mosque. But when it comes to the sunnah prayers or when it comes to voluntary nafila prayers, it is recommended by our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, to perform these sunnah and nafila prayers at home. To perform these voluntary prayers at home will increase the blessing of the house. But again, it is when it comes to the obligatory prayers, it is more virtuous to perform them in the mosque.
Ümmetimden kimseye rast gelirsen selam ver ki sevapların çok olsun.
Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says that if you meet anyone from my ummah, greet him with salam so that your good deeds may be many.
İnsanlar selam verdikçe sevaplar da artmış olur insanın.
So if you give the greetings of salam, then this means it is a good deed, and if you give salam, that means that you will increase your good deeds.
قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أقربوا بيوتكم ببعض صلاتكم ولا تتخذوها قبورا. Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem buyuruyor ki namazının bir kısmını evlerinizde kılmak suretiyle oraları da değer verin.
Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says, by performing a portion of your prayers in your homes, give value to your houses as well.
Yani evde namaz kılmayan olunca o değeri olmuyor yani namaz.
In other words, when you don't pray at home, that means that house in which prayers are not performed don't have the same value compared to a house or to a home where one performs prayers.
Değeri oluyor evin. Onun için
it is by praying that your home will gain value.
Nafile namazlarını evde kılmak, teheccüd, kuşluk, tevvabı falan o da evde kılınsa çok daha evlere de bereket oluyor.
Therefore, it is recommended to perform voluntary worship, to perform voluntary prayers, nafila prayers at home. For example, whether it's tahajjud, duha, awabin, or any other voluntary worship, it is recommended, it is better to perform these prayers at home because these voluntary worships will be the reasons for your homes to obtain blessings.
Onlara değer verin, onlara mezarlığa çevirmeyin.
Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says, give value to your homes, appreciate your homes, and do not turn them into graveyards.
Mezarlıkta namaz olmuyor diye namaz kılmayan ev mezarlık gibi yani şeysizdir, bereketsiz olur.
Because in graveyards one should not perform prayer, should not perform the prayers, and since one does not perform prayers in graveyards, our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says, don't turn your houses, your homes into graveyards by not praying. Because if you don't pray at home, your homes will be like a graveyard, devoid of blessings, devoid of a soul.
قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أما صلاة الرجل في بيته فنور فنوروا بها بيوتكم. Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem buyuruyor ki adamın nafile namazını evinde kılması ise bir nurdur.
Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says that a man's performing voluntary prayer, nafila prayer in his house, is nur, is light for that house.
Yani artık onunla evinizin nurlanmalıdır diyor Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem.
Thus, our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says, illuminate your homes with voluntary prayers.
Yani namazdan nur geliyor, hemen nur yani onu.
With light comes with prayer, and with prayer light enters the house.
Evin nuru artsın diye namazını, nafileleri evde kılın diyor.
Perform pray at home, perform prayers at home, perform your voluntary prayers at home, so that the light of your house may increase, says our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him.
قال الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم تطوع الرجل في بيته يزيد على تطوعه عند الناس كفضل صلاة الرجل في جماعة على صلاة وحده. Kişinin evinde kıldığı nafile namazın başka kişilerin bulunduğu bir yerde kıldığı nafile namaza olan üstünlüğü, kişinin cemaatle kıldığı namazın tek olarak kıldığı namaza olan üstünlüğü gibidir.
Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says that the superiority of a person's voluntary nafila prayers performed at home over the value of voluntary prayer performed in a place where other people are present and can see him is like the superiority of a person's prayer performed in congregation compared to a prayer performed alone.
Yani evinde kılan nafile namaz camide insanların önünde kılıp da nafile namaz onların kıymeti, evde kılınan kıymeti cemaatle namaz kılmış gibi oluyor.
So if you perform a voluntary prayer remotely at your home where nobody can see you, you will be gaining much more rewards compared to performing that voluntary prayer in front of people where people can see you. And the value of a voluntary prayer, of a nafila prayer performed at home where no one can see you, is comparable to a prayer performed to an obligatory prayer performed in congregation in the mosque. Because to perform the obligatory prayer in the mosque has more value than the obligatory prayer performed at home, and likewise, the voluntary prayer performed at home remotely has more value compared to the voluntary prayer performed where people can see you.
Camideki farz namazı nasıl üstünse nafile namazı evde kılınması o kadar üstündür.
And just as the obligatory prayer performed in the mosque is superior, performing voluntary prayer at home is that much superior too.
قال الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم صلوا أيها الناس في بيتكم فإن أفضل الصلاة صلاة المرء في بيته إلا المكتوبة. Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem buyuruyor ki ey insanlar evlerinizde namaz kılınız.
Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says, O people, pray in your homes.
Şüphesiz ki farz namaz dışındaki namazların en üstünü kişinin evinde kıldığı namazdır.
Without a doubt, the most superior of prayers, other than the obligatory fard prayers, is the prayer a person performs in his home.
Yine bu şeydir. Nafile evde kılan namaz. Çünkü namaz cami zaten farz için 25-27 kat daha fazla sevaptır ama nafile için nafile namaz evde kılması daha müstehaptır, daha faydalıdır, daha sevaptır.
Again, our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, underscores the value of the voluntary prayer which is performed at home. When it comes to obligatory prayer, that obligatory prayer should be performed in the mosque in congregation, because performing an obligatory prayer in the mosque in congregation is 25-27 times more rewarding compared to praying alone in your home. However, when it comes to voluntary prayers, it is recommended to perform these voluntary prayers at home, remotely, and it is more beneficial and more rewarding when you perform your nafila prayers, your voluntary prayers at home.
وعلى الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم صلوا في بيتكم ولا تتخذوها قبورا. Sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem buyuruyor ki evlerinizde nafile namazı kılın ve onları mezarlığa çevirmeyin.
The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says, perform your voluntary prayers in your homes and do not turn your homes into graveyards.
Yani namaz mezarlıkta namaz kılınmaz.
Prayer is not to be performed in a graveyard.
Yapılmaz. Onun için namaz kılmanın ev mezarlık gibi sayılır.
And for this reason, a house wherein a prayer is not performed is considered like a graveyard.
Ruhsuz, şeysiz, bereketsiz.
It is soulless, devoid of things, without blessings.
قال Resulullah sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem salli fi buyutikum ve la tetruku nafil fiha. Evlerinizde namaz kılın ve onlarda nafile namaz kılmayı bırakmayın.
Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says, pray in your homes and do not abandon performing voluntary prayers in them.
Nafile namaz, her türlü namaz ister gece namazı, gündüz namazı, abdest namazı, hepsi nafiledir bunlar.
And voluntary prayer includes all kinds of prayers, whether it's tahajjud or duha, or whether it's the voluntary prayer for having performed ablution.
قال Resulullah sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem صلوا في بيوتكم ولا تتخذوها قبورا ولا تتخذوا بيتي عيدا وصلوا علي وسلموا فإن صلاتكم تبلغني حيث ما كنتم. Sana buyuruyor ki evlerinizden nafile namaz kılın ve onları mezarlığa çevirmeyin.
Again, our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says, perform voluntary prayers in your homes and do not turn them into graveyards.
Yine evleriniz namazsız olursa mezarlığa benzer.
Again, if your homes are without prayer, then they resemble graves.
Benim mezarımın bayram yeri edinmeyin.
And our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says, do not make my grave a place of festival.
Yani bu Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem mezarını, kabri şerifini oraya hürmetle ziyaret edilen bayram gibi davul zurna filan olmaz.
Meaning, there's a certain manners to be observed when visiting the grave of our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. And when you visit the grave of our Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, his noble grave, then you should show your utmost respect and reverence, and you should not behave there and should not make that place to be a place of festival with drums and pipes and so on.
Hürmetle ziyaret edilir, makam karşısında durulup okunur, durabilirse.
And one should appreciate the sanctity of that place, and one should approach the noble grave of our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, with humility and utmost respect, and stand before it and recite one's prayers.
Duramazsa geçerken salat selam verip.
And even if one cannot stand in front of it and making prayers, one should, when passing by, give salutations.
Geçeriz. Oturup da bayram gibi bana yönelik gibi olmaz diyor. Yapmayın diyor Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem.
It is not right to be at the grave of our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and to sit there as if it were a place of festival and turn it into a place of festival or fairground.
Oranın hürmeti var. Ziyaret edilmesi lazım.
That place, the noble grave of our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, it is a place which has its sanctity, and therefore it must be appreciated accordingly, and one should visit it with proper etiquette and adab.
Bana salatu selam getirin. İşte geçerken salatu selam okuyacaksın.
And our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says, send salutations, send salat salam upon me. So when you pass by the noble grave of our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, send your salutations.
Huzurunda durunca salat selam yapacaksın orada.
And our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, describes how we should behave at his noble grave. And our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says that we should send our salutations to him.
Nerede olursanız olun, selamınız bana ulaşır.
And our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says, in fact, wherever you are, your salutations, your greetings will reach me.
Her taraftan dünyanın nereden okursa isterse dağın başında ister kuyunun dibinde olsun. Selam getirdin mi Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem'e yetişir.
From everywhere, wherever you are in the world, when you recite salutations and greetings, salatu salam upon the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, whether you are on the top of a mountain or at the bottom of a well, when you send salutations to the Prophet, peace be upon him, those greetings will reach the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him.
قال الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم الصلاة الرجل تطوعا حيث لا يراه الناس تعدى صلاته على أعين الناس 25. Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem gene buyuruyor ki kişinin insanların kendisini görmeyeceği bir yerde nafile namaz kılması görünen yerde kıldığı 25 namaza eşittir.
Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, again says that a person's performing of voluntary prayer in a place where people cannot see him is equal to 25 prayers performed in a visible place.
Onun yani o kadar faziletlidir.
So when it comes to performing voluntary nafila prayers, it is more virtuous to perform it remotely where no one can see you compared to performing it in a visible place.
قال الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم صلاة أحدكم في بيته أفضل من صلاته في مسجد هذا إلا المكتوبة. Yani Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem buyuruyor ki sizden biriniz farz namazı dışında evinde kıldığı namaz, mescitte kıldığı namazdan daha üstündür.
Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says, the prayer you perform in your house, besides the obligatory prayer, is more superior than the prayer you perform in the mosque.
قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فضل صلاة الرجل في بيته على صلاته حيث يراه الناس كفضل المكتوبة على النافلة. Gene buyuruyor ki kişinin evinde kıldığı nafile namazın insanların gördüğü bir yerde kıldığı nafile namaza olan üstünlüğü farz namazın nafile namaza olan üstünlüğü gibidir.
Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, once again says, the superiority of a person's voluntary prayer performed at home over the voluntary prayer performed in a place where people can see it is like the superiority of the obligatory prayer over the voluntary prayer.
Yani o kadar yüksektir.
So, as the obligatory prayer which is performed in a mosque is higher than the voluntary prayer, than the obligatory prayer performed alone, likewise, the voluntary prayer performed in a remote place is superior to a voluntary prayer performed in a place where people can see you.
قال الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم الفريضة في المسجد والتطوع في البيت. Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem buyuruyor ki farz namaz mescitte, nafile namaz ise evde kılınmalıdır.
Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says the obligatory prayer should be performed in the mosque and the voluntary prayer should be performed at home.
قال الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم اركعوا هاتين ركعتين في بيتكم السبحة بعد المغرب السبحة بعد المغرب. Akşam namazından farzından sonra şu 2 rekat nafileyi sünnette de evlerinizde kılınız.
Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says after the Maghrib prayer, after its obligatory part, after farz, perform the 2 rakahs of voluntary prayer, the sunnah, in your homes.
Şimdi o nafile namazlar ama şeyine olunca çoğu insan müekket sünnet var, nafile var. Nafileler evde kılınır, sünnetler gene mescitte kılınır. Çünkü onu olabilir bırakıp da evde kılacağım der, ondan sonra onu da unutur ya bir şey olur. Onun için
Now, what is important to here is that one needs to distinguish between the sunnah muakkada and the voluntary nafila prayers. So, while one should perform the nafila prayers, and it's recommended to perform the nafila prayers at home, one needs to be careful when it comes to the prayers which are sunnah muakkada. And these prayers which are sunnah muakkada, they should be performed and one should not miss them. So when it comes to the prayers which are sunnah mu'akkada, they should be performed in the mosque as well, because if you leave them to be performed at home, you are running the danger of actually forgetting them, or something might happen and then you will not have performed those sunnah prayers which are sunnah mu'akkada.
Onlar nafile dediğimizde nafile sünnetin daha az olan, yani kuşluk namazı, abdest namazı, işrak, gece namazları hep nafiledir.
Because there is a distinction among the sunnah prayers. There are the sunnah prayers which are mu'akkada, which are strongly emphasized, and there are the sunnah prayers which are voluntary, which are nafila. And when it comes to the prayers which are sunnah mu'akkada, one should not run the danger of missing them, and therefore one should perform them after the obligatory part in the mosque. But when it comes to the sunnah prayers which are nafila, like duha prayer, or ablution prayer, or ishraq prayer, or tahajjud, these are all voluntary nafila prayers, and these are the ones that are recommended to perform at home.
قال الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم نوروا منازلكم بالصلاة وقراءة القرآن. Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem buyuruyor ki evlerinizi namaz ve Kur'an okumakla nurlandırın, süsleyin diyor Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem.
The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says, illuminate and adorn your homes by praying and by reciting the Holy Quran.
Onların süsü namaz ve Kur'an okumaktır.
The adornment of your homes is prayer, and it is the recitation of the Holy Quran. Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says.
صدق رسول الله فيما قال أو كما قال زيادة الله شرف النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وأصحابه الكرام وإلى أرواح حبائبنا خاصة إلى إمام خليفة وغوث الخليفة خواجة بهاء الدين محمد ويسيد البخاري سيدنا عبد الخالق الغزواني مولانا الشيخ شرف الدين داوساني مولانا الشيخ عبد الله فاز داوساني مولانا الشيخ محمد ناظم عادل الحقاني وسائر سادات الصديقين ومن حضرت وجوارهم Hüseyin Efendi ve Fakaya ve Hacı Mustafa Turabi cümlemiz geçmişler ruhlar için, şehit şuhadalar ruhlar için, dünya saadet için, Allah Teala Fatiha.